Greetings, my noble friend. Here is Lord A, CEO from Rede Vampírica, author and DJ International, and this evening we have a very special guest. We will interview Elena Fossi from Kirlian Camera. Hello, Elena!
Hello, everybody, and thanks for inviting me.
Nossa arte invisível e nosso ofício sem nome é fazermos você esquecer da vida sob o sol. Noites intermináveis de boa música, onde trazemos sonhos que se realizam e a cada nova transmissão entregamos arte, informação, vertigem, visagem e voragem. Desde 2003 somos a Rede Vamp. Vampírica da América do Sul e de Portugal. Sigam nosso Twitch e descubram um novo mundo. Be very welcome to Acesso Rede Vamp. It's a true honor for us realize this interview with you. And you are a great singer, and more every time when you see you on stages, your performance transmits great emotion, and this electrifies all us. You tell a story with your performance, and this is amazing in radio these days. At the same time, we perceive expressive revolt against an old world and his stagnant postures. How have you handled with 2020, Elena?
First of all, I want to thank you for your words. Being able to communicate with the people who follow us is the most important thing to me. Singing becomes ephemeral if it doesn't convey a message. Also for this reason, I consider that the stage is the base of a musician. So you can imagine how I miss it. In the sense, it can be said that the category we belong to is very unlucky. Not only because it's forced not to work, but rather because concerts are pure lifeblood for a musician. In any case, both Angelo and I can't stand the self-pity people, so we immediately jumped into new musical projects, putting top concentration on composition. At any rate, we couldn't be simple observers of an event on the scale, so we tried to dig deep, looking for comparing news, data, statistics, whether they came from mainstream channels or from alternative sources. In Italy, for example, the economy has been torn to pieces, and furthermore, the same politicians who mourn the dead on TV, they cut so many funds for health facilities for a long time, so they may be considered taking part into such a mess. The situation has created a real drama, especially to families who have lost the loved ones without even having a chance to say goodbye one last time. But it's also true that the worldwide exploitation of this pandemic has given us, we citizens, an opportunity to wake up. No need to use words such as anarchy or rebellion to understand that the old world is showing all kinds of holes. Divide et impera is the motto of several governments, so we citizens must not fall into the trap of making war on each other. Each nonsense come up. This is the time to show ourselves united. And most of all, it's time not to turn ourselves into a servile dogs of a power becoming more and more anti-democratic.
Do you feel that the marks left by the year 2020 will bring some effective change to this abstraction called humanity? Will there be a new normal, or will we just return to average 2019 when this world pandemic passes?
If I'd been told about what we have experienced for almost 1 year, I'd have thought it was a joke, a bullshit. But unluckily, this is not the case. Such an event has brought much grief and is ruining the economy system of many nations, as already said. But in addition to the injury, here it comes the insult from the absurd and chaotic dictates imposed on us. I give you some example of what's happening here in Italy. Don't go out after 10 p.m. While people keep on getting sick or even dying, here it comes the policeman with a ticket because you left home for a golden moment. I have this picture on my mind. A person in pajamas carrying the garbage bag full of single mussel shells at less than 100 meters from home in a totally deserted night. At that point, a flash on him. It's the police who writes a ticket to the dangerous criminal. And then, for everyone's sake, the Christmas Mass was moved from the usual midnight to 8 p.m. How the hell can you think it's not a mockery? And the last gag. Before Christmas, our Minister of Technological Innovation made an appeal to telephone companies so that video calls were free on Christmas days. But what year does she live in? But is she not able to understand that in Italy almost everyone has either unlimited gigas or Wi-Fi? Nothing changes if the telephone companies for a couple of days give us video calls for free, because we already use free services such as WhatsApp, Skype, Zoom, Telegram, and so on. So let's say that in a vain attempt to avoid death, they are putting us in an induced coma. Seriously, all this offends our intelligence. And when you realize you are inside a joke, you don't like to discover you are the main character, do you? So, to answer your question, I couldn't foresee how a post-COVID society will be reshaped. But the severe weakening that now is burdening on us will have some major impact, no doubt. Currently, most folks are obsessed with fear, so are unable to reflect on the consequences of unconstitutional actions, such as those foolishly propagated by many states. Furthermore, the pharma companies, the giant of the online shopping, and many other power satanic puppet masters who are used to appear as philanthropists are ready to get their hands on everything, well pleased with the next big reset. So after the pandemic, things will change a lot. For sure, from a human point of view, the feeling will be devitalized.
Hologram Moon. It's a great name. Evokes conspirations like what really is the moon, and his strangeness open a vast creative field to find answers on even new questions. Please, Elena, tell us a bit more about this album, his name, songs.
Fake is your face is one of the phrases that most resonate in me when I sing holograms. or when in Los Islands the old world said goodbye. It's as if you had to face a new reset, as if you discovered everything you've always believed is swept away in an instant. And there is the awareness that in the face of a new and suffocating truth, when the sky collapses, only true love can resist and guide you. In the sense, the final track of the album, Traveler's Testament, is a real stone on my heart, as it describes a fantastic journey to a planet. The astronaut is now impatient to fulfill his dream, but he will never arrive on that planet. The landing will take place on a space station. The moon landings being questioned over and over again, and certain evidence of the fact's inconsistency eventually seems credible. But we cannot say what reality is in any scientific way, especially when we are already prepared to believe a reassuring source. This is a simple starting point to embark on our history. More than finding answers, our sacred duty is to open the door to new questions, ask doubts, not take anything for granted. Hologrammon is a purely poetic vision, but also a way to question everything. The mind can atrophy very easily. Habit, for example, can be complicit in this, and the so-called comfort zone can be complicit in this as well. The hypnosis that we suffer every day without realizing it, also grinding so many and bad TV shows, and so on. So let's remain thinking and dreaming. This is a message from us.
How was the experience of working with Covenant? Eskil Simonson on the beautiful song Sky Collapse.
We had come across Covenant several times before doing this collaboration, on festival occasions, in the dressing rooms, but always was a chaotic situations. So we gave each other a fleeting smile, a kind greetings, but nothing more. Then, when Angela and I wrote Sky Collapse, we immediately thought that a deep and sincere voice like Eskil's would add something precious to the song. Even before recording the two-voice song, we met at a charity festival. We had called him as a guest just to sing this song together, which was yet unreleased. He made himself available immediately. It was a nice gift for us, and when the moment came, I think that on the stage you could feel my strong emotion all the way down the hall.
Well, I think now we will have our fun moment, okay? Let's talk about some Kirlian Camera songs that our DJs and the audience of the Red love it. Do I speak the name, and may you tell a little about the meaning, influences, or curious histories of these songs? Night Glory.
Night Glory refers to the triumph of the night, perhaps as a momentary spiritual retreat. I'm talking about that precious moment that regenerates your very existence into yourself. The music of the song was born in a symphonic form, very different from how Night Glory was then arranged. This is a song and an album that have been appreciated by many people only after sometimes. partly because of a promotion that described the album as the most commercial in our history, which is absolutely harmful and misleading. Invisible Front and Eclipse were even more listenable, for example. Sometimes words spoil your work. It would be better to listen to the music only, ignoring its promotional presentation. Fortunately, Night Glory has recovered over time, till becoming one of the most requested live songs of ours.
Black August.
In the song, there are various hints coming out from a dark moment in my life. I'm in a period that risked devouring me. Wounds that take time to heal. Sky Collapse can be considered the final act of that period, even if the music of the two songs sounds very different, as you know. Black August blends various stylistic dimensions in a single body of music. So many didn't know how to label it at the time, as effectively goes to run free out of the box. A very atypical song that has gained some actual success despite its distinction, which has also brought us closer to fans of dark metal and so-called electronica.
Hellfire.
I choose this piece to add an echo to the dark period I was talking about above, in order to exorcise all that negativity. So we went to deal with a theme showing gospel threats, but containing some demonic references in the lyrics. Then I didn't know that the 8th president was waiting for us at the scarlet gate of a toxic daybreak with his cold pills. A wordplay whoever is following us will understand.
K-Pax.
I wrote this piece in a night when everything seemed dreamy, and I almost didn't realize where I was anymore. No, I wasn't under the influence of drugs or alcohol, but all my memories were mixing in a tremendous chaos that needed to reinvent itself and turn into a kind of immaterial fog in a light but lost dream. Angelo literally translated the music and melodies I had written on the stuff, given both them and my voice the perfect terms to guide the journey. In fact, it's not a complete and static text, but a sequence of dreamy and painful phrases at the same time. I felt that Angelo listened to me attentively, since he knew how to translate my notes so perfectly into written sentences, as if he were sending me back into my music. It was magical. And at Kipex, Angelo and I discovered the other life of ourselves, bringing to light so many breathtaking emotions. And it was just a departure after the suffocating mists of Still Air, an album we love anyway, and the crepuscular decadence of Stalingrad Valkyrie.
Elena, there is a cover of Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd from Kirlian Camera that's a true work of art and I love it. The Mad World cover performed by Spectra Paris is fascinating. Are there some covers from older bands that you would like to record?
Well, yes, there are ideas, but we prefer to evaluate which are the best. Meanwhile, I tried to produce a version of a Johnny Cash song and I made Angelo interpret it. I really like the result. It may be used by Stalingrad Valkyria. Yeah.
I love your lyrics. What can't Elena be missing when creating new lyrics or musical arrangements? Are there any poetry, films, books, or other influences?
Mostly everything happens unconsciously. You don't know how many times I realize why I wrote a certain phrase only after a song was released. But I can say my imagination works mostly by processing images. So the movies are very helpful in this. Similarly, Angelo and I tap into an imagery that could be part of the quantum physics new era, where multiverse and multidimensionality are both playing an important role. This word appears as a really tiny thing when compared to everything else.
Elena, I read in an older interview about a young ladies' homicides club. I found an undeniable reference to the films noir and the figure of characters called vamp, and all this charm and spectral magnetism. But I was a little curious. What is this young ladies' homicide club?
Well, let's say I imagined an real club created by apparently dead models, dead or so to say disappeared models, in order to get rid of fashion people who were acting a bit too naughty. The work to clean up that world wouldn't be lacking, as after all, it happens in all the professional areas. As for myself goes, I gladly opted in a flash and without a second thoughts for singing and making music, leaving everything behind, buying a couple of synths and a decent microphone, which I then enriched with various electronic devilry, kicking away possible easy money, foolish nights, cocaine, heroin, stereotyped relationship, and absurdly worshipped wines. Every so often, I like to play with the ridiculous and grotesque ghosts of some fashion designers, photographers, and evil spirits. Then going to recreate noir stories in which everything happens. I also drew some digital comics with a noir glam flavor a few years ago. It was a fun pastime. While with Kirlian Camera, I'd been exploring deeper and more fundamental universes.
Is there more news on other way for the Incredibles Spectra Paris and also for Stalingrad Valkyrie? May you talk a bit more about them?
Stalingrad Valkyrie is a project I'm very fond of in a special way. I insisted on getting it back to life after a period of hibernation, which lasted too much, in my opinion. Martirio Morope, the most recent album, proved me right, even if it's not a commercial project. Well, it seems our listeners have appreciated the attempt to combine different musical sources in a unique style, certainly linked to the more symphonic and dramatic Kirlian Camera page, but also quite free to express itself on his own, trying to avoid the most standard patterns of neo-folk, progressive and industrial, without, on the other hand, completely ignoring their now distant origins. So, in this small way, the new album turned out to be a success. And I'd really like this project to keep on living with further fresh ideas. We are currently working on a new chapter which will be released on vinyl and some digital, which contains previously unreleased songs and versions.
Elena, our Rede is a platform about cultural vamp and vampires production. And there is a question that our interviews never escape. Is there a character or perhaps a vampire history that you never forget?
Needless to say, the vampire who most impressed me over time can't be anyone other than Angelo Bergamini. Not many know that Angelo was the leading actor in a short film entitled Imre Bacai, shot in the late 90s or so, directed by Antonio Bocchi, the latter owner of the dark electronic project Lux Enodica and author of detective books. I don't think the film is regularly available or downloadable at the moment, but I know it was also screened at the time in various festivals and reviews, also getting some good feedback. Angelo, Imre and Antonio told me that one day the film will see the light, but at the moment it lies in the dark.
You and Kirlian Camera have many fans on our events and radio shows. Please leave a special message for our audience. Is there plans for a new gig on Brazil after all these pandemics?
While it's true that we've never been able to play in Brazil so far, I'm sure your land is actually right for us, because I can feel it's full of feeling and passion. So we'd love to perform for you very much, because in spite of the fact it's far away, I feel deeply affinity and a certain familiarity with your world. And while we wait, confident that sooner or later we'll succeed in our aim, I want to greet all those who had the kindness to listen to me, with a quote from the American scientist and politician Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. To you I send strong greetings from this more and more alien bunker. It was a real pleasure to stay here. Ciao.
Elena, thank you so much by your time and generosity. Thank you so much, and I see all you in our next editions. E agora em português, gratidão a todos pela audiência desse vídeo. Não esqueçam que todos os dias, de segunda a sexta, sempre às 19 horas, temos acesso Redevamp lá na twitch.tv/Redevamp.
Se você gostou deste vídeo, deixe um curtir, Compartilhe com pessoas afins e visite sempre o nosso portal redevamp.com.